Hello, dear students, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you have read the basics of orthopedic appliances, you have understood it, and as promised, we'll be covering the basics of headgear today. So, yes, orthopedic appliances basics was covered last time, and now we'll be covering headgear, face mask, and your chin cup. But today, in this lecture, we would be only covering headgear. So let's proceed with our headgear. So what is headgear? See, headgear is an orthopedic appliance, okay, which is worn extraorally by the patient. Now, a headgear is used in management of class 2 appliances, okay. I mean class 2 malocclusion. So this is the use of headgear. Headgear is given in a patient of class 2 malocclusion. In the previous video, we have seen the extraoral features of class 2 malocclusion. Either the maxilla can be protracted or mandible can be retruded. So in class 2 malocclusion, there is problem wherein the patient's profile is convex. It could be because of three reasons: prognathic maxilla, retrognathic mandible, or a combination of these two factors. Okay, so let us assume that the problem in a class 2 malocclusion is because of prognathic maxilla. Okay, so what do you have to do now? You have to retrude the mandible or retrude the maxilla or retract the maxilla. Why? Because my maxilla is protracted, okay? It has moved ahead, which is giving the patient a convex profile. So in such cases, what we do, we give a headgear. So headgear is used in the management of skeletal class 2 malocclusion by growth modification. See, headgears and all these orthopedic appliances do not bring about dental changes, they bring about skeletal changes. And how do they bring about skeletal changes? By doing growth modification. That is why, if you can relate to my previous video, they are given in the mixed dentition age group where already active growth is occurring. Okay, so it makes use of the growth, therefore we can bring about growth modification. So it is used in distalizing the maxilla. Why? Because my maxilla was protracted, it was protruded ahead. As a result, there was a convex profile in the patient, giving a class 2 malocclusion. So what are the components of a headgear? We'll be covering exclusively headgear in this video so that you are very well versed with headgear. Once you are very well versed with headgear, face mask and chin cups becomes easier to understand. Because after all, few things are there which are common in all three orthopedic appliances. Right? So let us start with the components of headgear. First component of headgear is the anchor unit. Anchor unit in this photograph is your occipital head cap. Do you see this blue color head cap which the patient is wearing? This is the anchor unit. Why? Because it takes anchorage from this particular occipital head cap. By taking anchorage from this, it will pull my maxilla behind. Okay, next is the force element. This string which you see over here, this is our force element. Let me highlight it with a different color. Okay, so this thing which is highlighted in yellow is my force element. This blue thing was my anchor unit. This is the force element, and next is the face ball. The one which is there in the patient's mouth, inserted into the patient's mouth, is my face ball. So these are the three important components of a headgear. That is your anchor unit, which is occipital head cap. Next is my force element, and the third thing is my face ball. Okay. Coming to face bow, this is how a face bow look, okay? So this particular portion is inserted in the mouth. This is an intraoral piece. This thing is the extraoral piece which lies besides my cheek area. Okay, and this thing which you see here is the junction. Let me erase this for you. So this area which you see is the junction. Okay. Then this is the inner bow. This thing is your inner bow. Inner bow has dimensions of 0.045 to or 0.052, and it is made up of round stainless steel wire. Okay, and it is contoured according to the arch. So what is done based on the shape of your maxillary arch, the inner bow can be contoured. Okay, so this is contoured according to the arch. And what are the dimensions? 0.045 inches or 0.052 inches. This is something which you have to remember, that it is made up of round stainless steel wire, and these are the dimensions, because it can be asked as an important MCQ question. Okay, so this is important since you can get an MCQ question on this. Next thing is this thing. This is your outer bow. The dimensions of outer bow is 0.051 or 0.6062 inches. And this is contoured according to the face. Okay, this is contoured according to the face, whether it is, what do you say, how the face is. Okay, so this can be contoured. It shouldn't protrude onto the cheeks. Okay, when the patient is wearing this thing is intraoral. So this is contoured according to the arch. But this is extraoral. So it should fit well into the patient's face. It shouldn't pinch onto the patient's face. It shouldn't be very much apart. So it has to be contoured according to the face of the patient. And these face bow come in different dimensions. They can be short, medium, or they can be long. Because one single face bow or one single headgear cannot fit all the patients. All the patients have different profile, different dimensions, their height, weight, everything is different. Okay, so they come in 3 sizes. But this is the basic structure of one of the component of headgear, that is face bow. So what we saw, that there were 3 components: anchor unit, force element, and the force face bow. Face bow we have seen in depth, that there are 3 more components to the face bow itself, which is the junction that connects the outer and the inner bow. Inner bow is made up of round SS wire, and these are the dimensions, and it is contoured according to the arch. Outer bow is contoured according to the face. Okay. Next is the concept of combination pull headgear. What happens, as you can appreciate in this photo, that the patient is already having an occipital headgear. Sometimes what happens, occipital headgears tend to distalize the maxilla. Along with that, it tends to pull the maxilla upward. Okay. So that is something which is not desirable in all the patients. In some patients, we might want the maxilla to move upward. In some, we want the maxilla should move bodily. In few patients, we might want a little downward movement of the maxilla. Okay, so based on the situation, we need to pull the head, we need to use the headgear in different directions. Okay, so what happened? We introduced a new concept of this neck strap. Okay, so this new concept of neck strap was given, where the patient's headgear can be attached in the neck region also. As a result, the maxilla can be pulled back based on that particular direction. So in combination pull headgear, we make use of occipital headgear as well as of a neck strap also. Okay, so both the things are used in combination. So what happens? My maxilla will move bodily behind. Okay, the maxilla gets distalized bodily. There is absolutely no tipping of maxilla upward or downward. Okay, so when we have to decide whether we need to use occipital headgear or we need the neck strap as well, or we need a combination of these two. Okay, so in which region it is required, parietal, occipital, neck region, whatever. So based on the situation, we used the type of headgear. So just for your information, you should know that there is this concept of combination pull headgear as well, wherein there is the occipital cap and the neck strap also. Okay. Before we deliver a headgear to the patient, the very first step is to analyze the center of resistance of maxilla. We saw the concept of center of resistance of maxilla in the previous video, wherein we emphasized the importance of knowing the center of resistance. Once we locate the center of resistance clinically, okay, we cannot be absolutely sure of it, okay, because it is a hypothetical, basically, point. Hypothetical as in, we cannot be very sure that yes, this is the point of center of resistance. We just assume it is somewhere here only. Okay, so you should know where is the center of resistance of maxilla lie. The center of maxilla is believed to exist. Okay, it is believed to exist at the posterior superior aspect of zygomatic-maxillary suture. So this is how they have shown in the feature. This red thing which they have highlighted is the center of resistance of maxilla. And this point is your posterior superior aspect of zygomatic-maxillary suture. This is, students, please note, a very important MCQ question wherein they can ask you the center of resistance of maxilla is. They'll give you four options, but yes, you should know it is on the posterior superior aspect. Okay. Next thing, since we are already talking about center of resistance, we have seen the series of maxilla. This is that is entire arch. Now, center of resistance of dental arch. Okay, this is of entire maxilla, not purely of dental arch. Please note that the center of resistance of the maxillary dental arch is located in between the roots of two premolars, as highlighted in the photograph. In between the roots of your first and second premolar lies your center of resistance of the dental arch. Okay, center of resistance of dental arch is required when we are distalizing the dental arch with the help of mini implants maybe. Okay, but when we are using orthopedic appliances like headgear, we should know the center of resistance of entire maxilla, which lies over here. Okay, so once we locate the center of resistance of maxilla, we give the orthopedic appliance in such a way so that the force elements pass through this. Okay, what was force element? This strap was your force element. Okay, so force element should pass through my center of resistance of maxilla so that my force is applied through series. So yes, students, this was about, headgear, where we saw the different kinds of headgear. It could be parietal, occipital, a neck strap could be added, or it could be in combinations. So these are all the different types of headgear. Headgear is used in correction of class 2 malocclusion by the procedure of growth modification. Okay, so it is used to distalize maxilla. We find when the patient comes to us and we have decided to give headgear in patient, we identify the center of resistance of maxilla. Okay, then we assemble this unit based on size, whether the patient will need small, medium or large size headgear. Okay, then the force element, that is the outer bow, is connected to the force element. Inner bow is connected to the plate which is given intraorally. Okay, there is a plate which is given intraorally and my inner bow gets inserted into the molar tube, which is contoured according to the arch. Okay, and then the force is applied. How? Outer bow, if the outer bow is attached to the very first hole which is given here, so maybe it will deliver some, say, 50 grams of forces. If I put it into the second hole which is given, see, I think from this figure it would be more clear. Let me erase this for you. Okay, see, so do you see the holes at different directions, different positions? Okay, so maybe if I insert the outer bow in this hole, it will deliver 50 grams of force. If I put the outer bow at this particular location, it might apply 400 grams of force. Okay, and how does this happen? We take the force element and we pull it. Okay, when the patient wears this cap, we have to pull this particular force element. When we pull it, we take the outer bow and attach it into one of the holes which is embedded into the force element. Okay, and before we send the patient, we give all the necessary instructions which have to be given. Next, the amount of force which is delivered has to be written down and noted. Okay, generally in the first setting, say we have given around 250 grams of force. Okay, the patient is instructed well that yes, you have to insert the outer bow into the fourth hole which is given. Okay, because it is patient who has to wear the appliance and remove it, right? It is an extra oral removable appliance. So we tell the patient that you have to apply, you have to put the outer bow into the fourth hole, and we measure the amount of force which we have given and write it down in the case paper that yes, 250 is given. Maybe when the patient will come to us next after 6 weeks, we might increase the force to 300 and tell the patient to insert the outer bow at the fifth hole. Okay, so this is how it is done. Now, injuries with headgear is very common, and the most commonly affected region because of injury is the eye region. So therefore, we always instruct the patient that you are very much prone to injuries. Okay, so do not wear the headgear while you are playing. Okay, in case anybody tries to attack you on the headgear, where do you have to hold it so that you do not get any injury? While you are removing the appliance, you have to be very careful and hold it from one side and remove it from other so that it just doesn't snap and get inserted into your eyes. But what studies have shown that yes, injuries can occur if headgear is not worn properly, if it is mishandled. Okay, and the common most common injuries are seen in eye. Okay, so these are the different instructions which we give to the patient before delivering a headgear. Okay, so yes, this was all about headgear basics basically, which is required to be known. Okay, orthopedic appliance is one topic which is huge. Okay, headgears we can go in depth and there is absolutely no ending to it. But for a neat MDS perspective, from your entrance exam perspective, these are the things which you absolutely need to know. Okay, so that is something which have been covered. If there is anything I feel more needs to be added, you will get MCQs based on this. Okay, wherein I can explain you more about it. But yes, to start with the basics and basically to garner your interest in orthopedic appliances, I have put up all the things in a very easy manner so that students, you don't have to go back to your books, open the textbooks and go through them. You just have to sit back and listen to this video so that you can understand the concepts. Okay, so if there is anything which you have not understood, you know what has to be done. And if there is any topic which you want to be covered first, again, you know what has to be done. Just let me know. You can write down in the comment section below. That topic would be covered next. Okay, so this was all about headgears. Wait for the next video, which will be on face mask and chin cup. Okay, thank you students, and all the very best with your preparations. Thank you.